Welcome to our Friday live stream this week in cannabis news, powered by Dutchie. Each Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, we delivered an overview of this week's cannabis news. It's quick, it's comprehensive, and we've taken a few weeks off, so we have a lot to get through, but it also sends you into this long weekend as a more informed cannabis professional. And it's all made possible by our friends at Dutchie. And speaking of Dutchie, if you read our newsletter religiously, you saw this week in our launches section, Dutchie's e-commerce pro was announced this week, as well as their certified partner program, AI-powered shopping experience with personalization, built-in loyalty, and frictionless payments. It's all part of it. There are links in the show notes about how to learn more and how to get in touch with the Dutchie team. Now, let's get to it from a very eventful sort of week. This week, the cannabis industry was aflutter with rumors that President Trump was going to sign an executive order rescheduling or even descheduling cannabis altogether. Rumor pointed to yesterday afternoon as the time, but it was not to be. As of right now, it still hasn't happened, but some other perhaps directional news from the Trumposphere. Longtime FOT, friend of Trump, Roger Stone did pen an op-ed in Marijuana Moment about the need for Trump to deschedule. We have a link to that on cultivated.news. And earlier in the week, the Republican National Committee elected Florida State Senator Joe Gruters as its new chair. It's still unclear how much influence Gruters, who is a Trump ally, of course, would have on federal policy, but he has been a proponent of legalization and supported past efforts to allow adult use legalization in the Sunshine State. Earlier this year, Gruters himself filed a bill that would have legalized home grow for medical cannabis patients in Florida. To Pennsylvania, where a bipartisan Senate bill that would legalize adult use cannabis in Pennsylvania is still waiting through the state's legislative process. But Governor Josh Shapiro is hanging on to legalization's possible tax benefits amid his state's concern for a budget shortfall. Now, Shapiro recently said that legalization and taxing skill games were key options for balancing the state's coffers. There is more on this story on cultivated.news. And as you may have noticed, Washington, D.C. has a lot going on with the National Guard and the military taking over the city's policing, but that's not all that's happening there. D.C.'s Alcohol, Beverage, and Cannabis Administration shut down 2 more unlicensed cannabis shops on August 15th, bringing the district's total number of closures to 68 since July 2024. Now, last year, the ABCA created a pathway for gray market shops to attain legitimate medical licenses. Since then, the administration has also been cracking down on shops that chose to skip that pathway. Our partners at the Outlaw Report have more on this story. We ask you to go over there, read that story, and subscribe to them when you do get there. Some news from Google as it relates to cannabis. Google launched a pilot program on August 25th, allowing limited cannabis advertising for users in Canada. The program is supposed to last 20 weeks and is intended to test the waters of user interest. On the media events front, former Benzinga executives have launched Ignite It Inc., a cannabis media and event platform that they say will serve as the next evolution of what used to be Benzinga Cannabis. Now, each week, our partners at Lit Alerts share exclusive insights with our readers and our viewers. This week, the focus is on New York's Capital Region, which is not only where cannabis rules and regulations are written in New York, but it's also an area that apparently really likes cannabis. And with over 1 million residents, it's a very competitive market. The New York power brands Heirloom, Jaunty, and Dank continue to show their dominance in other regions, and in the Capital Region, these brands have been present in all the New York regional category leaders charts that Lit Alerts has provided exclusively to Cultivated readers. Now, others in the top 5 include Rhythm, anchored by its top-performing store in Clifton Park, and Revert, another New York-born brand that has its roots in the Capital Region in Saratoga. Upstate Cannabis Company, Stage 1, High Peaks, and State of Mind are the retailers standing out in this competitive market, suggesting that once again, it has paid to open up early in the process. Now, we invite you to follow cultivated.news for more exclusive insights each week from our friends at Lit Alerts. No, one good thing. The Cultivated team was happy to see Green Market Report founder Deborah Borchards' byline in the newly revamped High Times magazine. Kudos to both High Times team and to Borchard. Her first piece this week was titled Wall Street Who? Cannabis carves its own path without big finance. And finally, one sad thing. Earlier this month, we learned that Richard Lee, the tireless cannabis advocate and founder of Oaksterdam University in Oakland, California, died in July. Now, interestingly, the New York Times, among many others, paid tribute, and we have a link to that story and those tributes on cultivated.news. And that's it for this week in Cannabis News. Thank you all for joining us here today. Thank you, Lit Alerts, for your partnership and exclusive insights into New York's capital region markets. Thank you, Dutchie, for making this show possible each and every week. You can find all of these stories and much, much more on cultivated.news. We'd also love for you to follow us on LinkedIn and on YouTube to stay connected on all of the socials. Check back on Friday next, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here for This Week in Cannabis News, powered by Dutchie. Have a good and safe, long Labor Day weekend, everybody.